Hi everyone, I'm just jumping on today to do a video regarding inks because in our group, the Glitzcraft group, Facebook group, there's been quite a few questions about ink blending and how to incorporate ink blending into your work and how to get that ink blending smooth. So both Leona and I are going to do some videos this week and put them out. You know, showing you how to do the ink blending with the stencils. There's all sorts of different ways of doing it. I'm not saying that mine is right or wrong or indifferent, it's just the way I do it, and I think that I get quite good results from the techniques that I use. So that's what I'm going to share with you. So to start off with, one of the, obviously there's important things you've got to think about. You can't just use really cheap materials because you won't get the effect that you are looking for. There are certain standards that you kind of want to look for, and one of the most important things is obviously your paper. Now I've used copier paper, you know, from copier paper I've experimented to see what looks good and what gives the best results. So what I'll do is I'll just say that there are a couple of papers that I've tried that I find that I do get good results with, and one that I get amazing results with. So it depends on your budget as well, because obviously the better the materials, the more you know, cost that you've got to consider as well. So one of the first ones that I'm going to show you is this one. It's the Clarity, and it's the A5 the other card it's called. It's an uncoated super smooth card, and I got this, it's 50 sheets in there, which is amazing, 50 A5 sheets, and I got that for £6.79, so it's not a massive amount, and you've got 50 projects that you can create using this card. And even when you're starting out and experimenting, you know, and trying to work out yourself what your blend is and work with your inks, because everybody's got different inks as well, which is another thing I'll come to shortly. You can cut them in half and you can just do little experiments on them and try different blends, different colours, different inks, etc. And what I also advise that you do is just on your card when you take it out, just put a little pencil at the top, say what card you're using and what ink you're using and what blending tool you're using, because again, that's another thing. You've got different types of blending tools. You've got your sponges, your finger daubers, these fabulous brushes, you know, the Ranger ones that we used for so many years because that was all that was available, and now there's a big spring, there's all sorts of different things. Again, that's something I'll come to in a minute. So that's the other card. Then I've got the Crafter's Companion. Now this is the Neenah Classic Crest card, and you get 16 sheets in here, and I think that was £2.80. So again, you get 16 sheets there. Chop it into 4, you've got 4 sheets of A4 to practice on, times your 16 by 4, and you've got plenty of paper to be experimenting on. Again, it's a really, really lovely ultra smooth, and it's solar white, so it is a really bright white, and it's a really lovely paper, and I like using this one as well. I also use the one that I use that I think is the absolute best, and I use it all the time, is this. It's the Strathmore Bristol Smooth Surface. Now you get 20 sheets in this, and it's a 9" by 12" pad, and it's gummed at the top. You just pull out your paper each time, and I cut that into 4, so you know, I get 80 projects out of that, and this is about £13 on Amazon. I have seen it for £9 or £10 in shops, but by the time you add on your delivery charges, you're coming back up to that £13 anyway. So I just get it from Amazon, and it's £12 something and free delivery. So, and this is amazing, and I mean amazing. It is so super smooth. It's £100 paper as well, so it's a really lovely weight to it. So it can take a little bit of water, you know, when you're doing your this kind of thing. you're spritzing, so it's thick enough to take a little bit of water, not soaking it obviously, but you can put, you know, a little bit of water on. But that's my all-time absolute favourite, and it's the one that I use. So any samples that you'll see me doing, I've done it on the Strathmore or the other card, this one, because I do like this one as well. And sometimes because of the size of this, it's quick just to pick up a piece of paper, whip a stencil on, and, you know, job's done, sort of thing. So the other thing that I was mentioning was the brushes. Now obviously I use these brushes from Glitzcraft, and I've said this in other videos. I don't need to go into like a massive amount of detail, except to say that they are brilliant. They're densely packed. They have a movable handle, so that if you want to use it that way to do your blending, or that way, or hold it that, whatever way it is that you do your blending, these are perfect. They really are. And I've had brushes in the past and they've snapped, and these are so movable. They've got a really good maneuverability, so I really do recommend these quite highly. Some of the stencils, particularly the ones that I'm going to give a quick demo on today, well, not a quick demo, but a demo, are the two-step stencils that Leona's made. And I'm going to do this one, which is the, it's like the birdhouse, isn't it, over the basket. Sorry, the birdhouse in the circle. Never met a basket. I don't know where that came from. Because I'm looking at the bicycle stencil, and then it's thinking of you. So I'm going to do that one. But this has a big space, and I think that that was what was causing a few guys the question, you know, the issues, to say, well, yeah, I can go through a stencil, it's smaller spaces, but what about when I've got something this big? Or equally, one of my favourite stencils is this Christmas one, and I'm going to do this today as well, and that is a huge space to do blending through. Now in the cases of those, apart from it being a two-step system with the stencil, it's a two-step system with the brushes. Now I use these. Okay, now it's a makeup brush off Amazon, and you get a pack of 4. Okay, these are the new ones I haven't opened yet. You get a pack of 4, and they come in their own little housing system. So what I tend to do is I'll have a pink one for my light colours and a black one obviously for my dark colours, so that I can rub off onto a microfiber cloth or some tea towel, sorry, kitchen roll, and then just move on with the next dark colour. With my brushes, I actually have them all marked up with the different colours, and they're the colour families, so I know what I'm doing with those. So back to these brushes, sorry, digress. So these are really, really densely packed. They're just as densely packed as these ones that Leona has designed, and they're kind of like a teardropper. They're not a circle, they're like a teardrop, because they are makeup brushes, so they were designed to be used on a person's face with foundation or whatever. And they are so I mean, they are so soft. It's like, you know, is it kabuki brushes? They're really, really soft material. It's just like stroking a cat. It's beautiful. So these are amazing for those bigger spaces, okay, because you've got more surface area on the bottom of the brush, so that you can do more of the brushing, and the blend is more sort of fluid, if you will. So what I'll do, instead of yapping on, I'll actually do it and show you. I just want to pop these to one side. This is one that I've done this morning to show you. This is a blend that you can get. Now this is on that beautiful Bristol card. Okay, so you get an absolutely gorgeous blend. Okay, and I'll show you how to achieve that as well. May not be in this video, maybe in another one. I don't want this video to be super duper long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my excuse me, I'm going to grab my stencil. Now what I want to do is, when you're doing this stencil, check that you are doing it the right way around. Okay, so basically that means that when you put your leaves on, they're going to be going over the right leaves. So when you line it up, it goes over these, and you'll understand what I mean in a minute. So I'm going to line that up on my card so that I get it all in, and I'm going to tape that down. Don't forget, always tape down your work, and I've done it long already because you need to hinge the top first, or at least that's what I advise you to do. So hinge the top like that, and then work your way around with the rest of it. Now the reason for doing this is it's so important because it's your foundation. If you start off doing it and it's not stuck down, and then you make a move and the stencil goes like that, you're going to have to start again. So it's like anything else in life, if you put down the foundations correctly first, you're going to get a good result. Okay, and the other thing that I do, I always use, oopsie daisy, that's the glide from the top. I always use a glass mat because it's just, your brush glides over a lot easier. Right, I'm going to do this in blues. Okay, so I'm going to pick a light blue and a little bit of a sort of a mid blue, and then a dark blue. So that equates, and I'm using in this instance the Distress Oxides. Okay, so I'm using Broken China, Salty Ocean and Faded Jeans. Okay, excuse me. So I'm going to start with the Broken China. Now I'm going to start with this big brush because it's a big space. So what I tend to do, now a lot of people will go straight to the ink pad, which is fine. You know, if that's what you do, that's what you do. However, I like to try and preserve my pads. So I've got a glass mat to the side of me here, and you just smush it into your glass mat. Okay, so that's what I've done at the side of me. You can't just see it, but I'll show you. So just smush it in onto your glass mat. Okay, and then your mid-tone and then your dark tone. Okay, get yourself a wad of kitchen roll, but it's not too bad because you are going from light to dark, so you don't have to worry too much about sort of making sure it's really clean. Okay, so I'm going to go to the light first, and you gently pop it in. With this one, you just rub it into your ink. Now the reason for doing this is to get the ink into the bristles into the bristles. Again, the reason for that is because once you're on your paper, you can keep going and you can get a really good blend, and you don't have to keep going back and dabbing and going back and dabbing. And I think that has a lot to do with the way that your results can be, because you can have lines and what have you. But if you actually load it up into the bristles first, you've got a good starting point. Okay, there we go. So then what I'm going to do is start brushing. Now you need to start blending off the project, and what that means is you start going round in a circular motion just off the picture. So you start in and then you come in, and you just come in and you just go around in circular motions. It doesn't look like much at the moment. Just go around And I think if you can't see anything, which you can't, that's a good thing. It means that you've got the right blend. You've not got anything causing a line. You've not got anything causing you know, any stray hairs or anything like that. So it doesn't look like anything's gone on there, it really doesn't, but it has. And then go back again and just roll it in. And again, every single time, start off the project where the stencil is, and just circular motions, and you can actually now start to see a little bit is building up. Okay, can you see there? So you can actually see that little bit of blue is starting to build up. Okie dokie. So then, get your next colour, start loading it up again. And it's the same thing if you put it into the bristles. It's just a nicer blend. It's like when you're painting your walls, I guess. If you use a good paintbrush, you get a nice even stroke. And this is exactly the same principle. And I think the other thing as well is don't rush. Take your time. Doesn't matter if it takes you 20 minutes to make it, does it? You want a really good outcome. Again, so start off and start doing the circular motion, and just gently, you don't have to press down. And all you're going to do with this bit is just come down about a quarter of the way, or just below where that stencil is. Okay? And the other thing is, try not to put your fingers on the ink itself, because you've got greasy fingers, and because it's a water reactivated ink, you're going to cause wet finger marks. So that's another reason I have pop my fingers on there. So again, and if you notice, I don't have to go back and keep reloading the brush with more ink, because I did that initial build up into the bristle, into the bristles, okay, with the brush at the beginning. So you can see how nicely that's building up. And then just come a little bit further down. Okay. So you can see how that's building up really nicely there as well. So I'm just going to get a little bit more of that middle blue, and I'm just going to come on the top there where I think it just didn't quite go in there. And then pop that in like so. And then now we're going to go to our darker blue, which is down here, and again, just round and round and round, and build it up into those bristles. Okay. And once you've got nothing left, it's in your, you know, it's loaded into your brush. Okay, so back to your project. As always, again, start doing it off the project. So onto the stencil, and I'm just coming in this way for a change. I just want to deepen that blue, and this time I only want to sort of deepen up at the top. Okay, so it's like an outside of it I want to deepen, and then I'm just going to go in a little bit at the bottom, just so that it's going to create a nice halo when I take the thingy off. Okay. And then just a nice brush over. Okay, and if you look there, you've got a nice, because you don't want it, a lot of people think as well. If they can't see the colour, then it's not going in, so they go heavy-handed and it just looks like a mass of, you know, a lot of colour. It is really about building up the layers, and it's about going slowly, and it's about going gently, and not too hard. So that is the first step. So this is where the magic is going to happen. You're going to see exactly what we've done on that piece of card. Excuse me. So always leave your hinge at the top, because if you feel that you want to put anything extra in, you can pull the hinge back down and go in again. So gently take off the sides. Okay. And then I'm just going to have a quick look to see if that's what we want. Look at that. How beautiful is that? And that is just building it up ever so gently and carefully. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the Thinking of You, and I'm going to line that up with the white of the flowers underneath. Okay, so they're on a bit of an angle, like so. And I'm going to do exactly the same as I did before, and I'm just going to hinge the top of that. Don't forget to get your low tack tape from Leona. I've tried other types of low tack tape. I'm not saying this to get you to buy Leona's. I have tried other types of low tack tape and decorators tape, and it is not the same. This is super low tack tape. Decorators tape has still got an amount of stickiness on it that is a heck of a lot more than this. You will notice a difference, and this just glides off the paper as well that you're working on. So, you know, I've been and got, say for example, I've gone to Tesco's and I've got a masking tape, and it says low tack decorators tape, low tack masking tape, whichever, and I've gone and used it, and then as I've taken it off, excuse me, I've blown those. As I've taken it off, it's actually not a low tack. It's got enough tack on it to have connected with the fibres of my card that I'm using. If I've been using, for example, watercolour card, or a card that's not this super smooth, and it's ripped the card. So just be mindful. There are a few little things you just need to think about. Okie dokie. So what we're going to do now is, I want to do the leaves obviously in green, and so I've got the birds in brown and the little birdhouse in brown. So what I need to do is mask off everything else. So I'm going to mask off here. Okay. And I'm going to mask off, I'm going to grab my scissors. So I'm just going to mask off there. Okay. And then I'm going to mask off here. And then, so you don't want any, obviously you don't want any going on your lovely blended background. And we've got a little bit, up there, so I've just cut a little bit and I pop that in there. Okay, and that just ensures that you aren't going to get anything over your lovely background that you've just spent sort of 10 minutes blending. So I'm going to just pop away my blue ink. Okay, I'm going to bring in my greens and my greens brush. So I'm going to start off with a light green, and then I'm going to make it slightly darker. So as in when you're colouring, you do your two tones, don't you? So, and now I'm going to swap to this little brush, okay? So I'm going to grab my green, okay? I'm going to put a bit on the glass mat to the side of me, and exactly the same way, I'll show you in this one, but then in future videos you'll know that this is what I do. I'm just going to load up that brush. So you're loading that ink into the bristles, okay? So that's all nicely loaded in, and very, very gently from the offside of your project, as we've done, start going around in a circle and then gently blend into your leaves. Okay. Like so. Then with your darker green, that's your Lucky Clover. So I've used the light green, I've used Twisted Citron, and for the dark green I'm using Lucky Clover. And I'm just going to use the tip of my brush. Okay, I'm just going to load the tip of my brush rather than all of the brush. Okay, and I'm going to sweep. So I'm still going to go off the page in a circular motion. I'm just going to sweep, 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 like so. Okay, so I'm just sweeping. So I'm not taking over the whole of the leaf. What I want to do is give an impression of light and dark. Okay. Now the other thing that you can do is you can get other brushes that, again, on Amazon, and they are smaller, and I just haven't got any to hand to show you. Yes, I have. I tell a lie. This wasn't from Amazon actually. I think this was from Home Bargains in a set of makeup brushes for next to nothing. And it's a, if you look at the difference, it's a smaller brush. Okay. So what, for when you're doing things a bit more intricately, just make sure that's nice and clean. When you're doing more intricate things, like when you're wanting to put a little bit of the dark on the leaves, just use the smaller, and you can actually just get in a little bit more. Okay, and that's your leaves. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the birdhouse, the mask for the birdhouse. You know, it does take a little while with you masking on and masking, but it does make a difference, and it's worth just taking that minute or so to mask off, because your project is going to look how you want it to. So I'm going to grab some vintage photo, okay, and I am going to use that smaller brush again. So this is where your kitchen roll comes in handy. All you do, turn it round and round and round and round till nothing's coming off it, and then you know it's clean. Okay, and then a little bit, I know I'm going to the pad, but I am only actually literally using a little bit. So swirl it round on your glass mat just to make sure it's gone in, and then I'm just going to do the birdhouse. Okay, And then I've noticed I've just got a little bit of brown on my leaf up there, so all I'm going to do is go back to my green, which is at the side of me, and just go over the top. Okay, like that. Just wipe the brush off. Then I'm going to take off the mask for the bird. In fact, I can take everything off now, because when you're using that smaller brush, you should be able to guide it a little bit better. So for the birds, I'm going to use Hickory Smoke. So again, because I'm using that small brush, I'm just going straight to the pad and then pop it in like that. And then I'm just going to do the bird and the other bird. And you can tap and then blend it, tap and then blend it, because it's a small area. So, and then for the thinking of you, I'm going to do that in black soot. So again, I'm just going to give that, I'm going to do it in the small one as well. I'll just grab my black soot and then pop it into the bristles. And then I'm just going to go over the sentiment. And I'm just doing it in the circular motions. Like so. And all being well, when I take this up now, it should look something like what we're wanting to achieve, to show you how to achieve that blend. So again, just take off the, that's why, and then I'll just lift it up to start with, and there you go. So if you want to have a look at that, and it's absolutely gorgeous, and it's achieved exactly what you wanted, and it's got a lovely blend. And also the other thing you can do, obviously I haven't done it today because I'm doing inking rather than the glitter paste, but normally I would do the birdhouse and the birds with the glitter paste and the leaves as well. So you can always go over the top of the leaves with some, you know, with a glitter pen to make them sparkle. So that's the thinking of you one. So I think that's turned out rather lovely. Okay, then what I'm going to do is show you the bigger one. Okay, and I'm going to try and whiz through this a bit quicker because I've kept you quite a while now. So we're going to, because this is obviously, this is a really big big space that needs filling on this one, so always hinge the top, and then I'm going to pop that over there because it'll cover over, just so I don't catch that Merry Christmas at the bottom. Okay, and make sure it's down. And again, what I would do is use this big one because it's a bigger space. So I'm going to use the broken china first. So I'm going to load up my brush. Okay, that's onto the side. And then we, again, always start off to this side of the project. So it's this side, and then come in, and then just go around in circular motions If you're not confident of not moving the trees, just hold them down, but make sure you don't put your fingers on your work that you're blending. Okay, so that's your layer 1. Then we want to go to the salty ocean. Again, load that up on your glass mat. Start here, and then now on this second lay down, you just want to come down about just over 1/4 of the way. Okay, really don't want to keep catching that. So it does take, it makes a difference if you just take your time. And then those circular motions are really important because it just keeps that blend nice. So you can see that building up nicely there. And then we want to go on to our last colour, which is the Faded Jeans. And then just blend that in on your craft mat at the side. Again, starting up here and then just quietly coming in. And we only want that to come in a little bit because that's more to give, you know, a deeper shading at the top and around. So I'm happy with that. I'm just going to go and that just takes any harsh line between the blue and the white. Okie dokie, so again, always leave it hinged so that if you need to put it back down to do any reparation. It looks like I've got something on there from earlier. Not to worry, we're not worried about that, we're just looking at that blend there. So we've got a lovely blend there. And then I'm going to put it the right way around and line it up with the trees. Okay, so that's all nicely lined up. So just ignore that at the bottom because we'll cut it off when we're making a project or when we're making a card, because all we want is that bit in the middle. Okay, I've just gone over the moon, so just let me rehinge that. Okay, so I'll pop that up there. Now I'm going to try. Once you get going, you can kind of not need to mask it up sometimes if you don't want to. That's entirely up to your confidence really as to if you want to go in. So I'm going to grab the Twisted Citron. Now I still have some on the mat next to me, so I'm just going to build that up, and I'm going to just go in. So again, you start off the project, I'm just going to go in and pop on a light green to start. Okay, just put some more of that on my mats and rub that in. So you've got a nice covering there. Okay, so that's your Twisted Citron. And then I'm just going to change that small brush. I'm just going to pop a bit on the brush. And then get some on the bristle. And then I'm very gently going to go from the stencil, just gently down one side to create shadow. And the same on this one. And the same on this one. Okay. And that's that one. So I'm just going to clean that off on my kitchen roll. I'm going to grab the squeezed lemonade, which is a lovely yellow. Make sure that's really clean. Otherwise I'm going to get more of a green. Okay. So what I'm going to do is then I'm going to do the stars in the yellow. So I'm just going over them, and obviously the moon. Okay. Gonna clean off. And then with the reindeer, I'm going to do, going to be the walnut stain again, is it? No, let's go for walnut stain, because that's a more of a brown for the reindeers. Okay, so I'm going to do the reindeers with the walnut stain. And then just pop back over. Again, this, you at home would be doing this a lot slower than me, and if your confidence wasn't great to start with, you would probably mask off the sleigh and the moon, the stars, etc. I mean, because that's exactly what I did when I first started. So, you know, I've just, obviously confidence has got better. And then I'm going to pop the sleigh in red. Okay. I'll just deepen that a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to do the base of the sleigh with iced spruce, which is kind of a silvery kind of, so I just want that to go in the sleigh bottom, if you like. Okay. And then with the houses at the bottom, I am going to go in with what's left on my brush from the iced spruce. And I'm just going to give, I've done most of the colour through the centre, and then I've kind of come gently down on the snow and left some white, and the same with the chimney at the top, because it will give the impression then of snow on the roof. So just pull that down. Okay, and that is, we'll see what happens there. Okay, so the proof of the pudding now. Is in the reveal, and there you go. Really chuffed with that. Like I said, just ignore this because that will get chopped off, but that is absolutely gorgeous. I totally love it. And then, as I say, what you would then do, for example, you could go in with a glitter pen and just glitter up your stars. You could even go in with yellow and put lights in some of the houses and that sort of thing, but that's kind of your end game when you're creating the project. The thing that I wanted to do today, just to show you, I'd say quickly, it's been quite a long video, but is to show you the blending and how to get that initial blending. So I hope, I'm going to finish now because I'm wary of it being a long video. I will do another because I'm going to have a look at some other inking. So today I've used Distress Oxides. My next video I could look at maybe some eyes inks, or I could look at the original Distress inks. I've also got inks like your Stampin' Up inks, artistry inks. I've got Memento, and I have actually got some Make Art ink coming soon as well, so I can have a look at those. I haven't got those yet, so they're on their way. So I hope you've enjoyed that, just as a little bit of a taster. I hope it's helped. So that's the two that we've done today. It'd be really great if you could pop in any sort of work that you've done in groups, so that I can see that you are understanding what I'm kind of trying to sort of help you with. If you have any questions, if you have any specific inks that you do want me to use, if there's any specific stencils that you want me to use, then just chuck a message in and I'll do a video. It's not a problem at all. So I hope for those ladies that asked that this gives a good starting point. I can't wait to see what you come up with, and I'll see you really soon in another video, and I'll also see you around group anyway. So thank you very much, glitzers, and I shall see you soon. Bye.